Third house, or Sahaja Bhava for Aries rising. For Aries rising, the third house falls in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Aries is ruled by Mars, impulsive, physical, direct, while Gemini brings mercurial agility, intellect, and verbal quickness into the realm of self-expression, skills, and communication. This overlay creates a persona that combines initiative and drive with mental adaptability. The native often initiates dialogue, acts on ideas rapidly, and is skilled at asserting themselves not just physically, but also intellectually and rhetorically. Gemini as the third house for Aries rising creates a dual channel of courage, physical through Mars and verbal through Mercury. The native is often skilled in multiple crafts, languages, or systems of thought. Communication is fast-paced, idea-driven, and animated. Siblings, peers, and early school experiences become the stage for developing articulation, curiosity, and friendly competition. They may challenge others through debates, take initiative in collaborative environments, or lead through their ideas. Mercury ruling this house gives the native strong hand-mind coordination, a sharp wit, and problem-solving ability. Whether through speech, writing, or manual skills, they seek to prove their intellectual edge. If Mercury is strong, this becomes a person capable of excelling in media, marketing, design, or education. If afflicted, it can lead to nervousness, scattered thoughts, or overtalking. In either case, Mercury here ensures a restless hunger for input, output, and movement. Siblings may play a defining role in the native's early environment. The relationship can be stimulating, competitive, or transactional. Sometimes it brings a sibling with whom they share common mental interests or rivalry. The third house also governs daily courage, the will to show up, speak up, and act on thoughts. Aries rising with Gemini here does not hesitate. They speak before thinking, move before planning, and learn through trial and error. Financially, this house contributes to income through skill-based professions, trading, consulting, media, logistics, or writing. They earn by thinking on their feet and communicating clearly. Jobs requiring quick mental reflexes, such as journalism, programming, advertising, or transportation, suit this placement. Because Mercury rules small gadgets and travel, there may be earnings through freelancing, commuting, or tech-based service work. The physical body areas influenced by this house include arms, shoulders, hands, and the nervous system. These natives have dexterous hands, a fast reflex system, and an agile bodily rhythm. They may excel in manual tasks, sports involving hands, or physical acts that require mental timing. When stressed, the nervous system bears the brunt. Overthinking, hand tremors, or anxiety show up when their mind is overloaded or underutilized. The third house becomes active at the ages of 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. At 15, there may be a sharp mental awakening, assertion of individuality in peer circles, or sibling dynamics that shape the mind. At 27, they seek professions that validate their communicative strength. At 39, they refine their network, community influence, or media presence. These years bring sharp shifts in communication style, courage, and intellectual self-assertion. Psychologically, this house defines their day-to-day mental courage, the micro decisions to act, speak, write, move. For Aries rising, it acts as a throttle between Mars's will and Mercury's message. They are often impatient learners, quick talkers, and verbal challengers. Over time, the lesson lies in listening as much as speaking, and in channeling mental energy into structured skill building rather than scattered curiosity. At their best, Aries risings with Gemini in the third house become dynamic communicators, blending physical energy with intellectual dexterity. They speak with speed and clarity, lead through logic, and inspire through articulation. When unbalanced, they may become reactive, gossipy, or mentally volatile. Their evolution lies in cultivating stillness between ideas, so that their actions arise not from haste, but from wisdom refined through repeated intellectual trials. Conjunctions in third house, or Sahaja Bhava for Aries rising, part 2. All conjunctions except with Mars and Mercury. Moon, fourth lord, with Ketu in the third house creates a voice that is instinctive, poetic, and intuitive, but also fragmented or emotionally withdrawn. The native speaks with feeling, but often pauses or retreats mid-sentence, sensing more than they can articulate. There is a karmic backlog in communication, memories or emotions that feel too large to process verbally. Early childhood could involve unpredictable schooling or a sense of detachment from siblings. They may prefer nonverbal forms of expression like writing, art, or silence. The emotional intelligence is high, but social expressiveness may be minimal or erratic. Sun, fifth lord, with Ketu merges egoic creativity with spiritual aloofness. In the third house of Gemini, which governs intellect and expression, this creates a speaker who feels both compelled to express and subtly disinterested in validation. Speech is authoritative, occasionally fiery, but lacking in attachment. The native may have difficulty maintaining consistent interest in topics unless they are soul-driven. There may be an early feeling of not being heard or seen, which compels solitary intellectual work. This combination often creates the philosophical speaker, the quiet guide, or the person whose leadership is rooted in inner stillness. Moon, fourth lord, with Venus, second and seventh lord, brings elegance, receptivity, and emotional grace into communication. The voice is affectionate, refined, and deeply expressive. The native speaks with warmth, often evoking trust and emotional resonance. Their early schooling or sibling life may be rich in bonding and beauty, emotional storytelling, shared hobbies, or a love of music and art. Their communication style may suit counseling, creative writing, or client-based work. The emotional tones of their voice often become their trademark, offering both comfort and persuasion in equal measure. Sun, fifth lord with Venus, second and seventh lord, produces a highly charming, confident, and socially captivating communicator. The voice becomes a tool of both performance and connection. The native may enjoy the spotlight in discussions, group settings, or presentations. There is an early emphasis on being recognized, perhaps competing with siblings or excelling in verbal arenas. The charm is seductive, blending warmth with pride. Financially, it supports careers in media, branding, relationships, or aesthetics. However, the ego may become overly dependent on verbal admiration, requiring caution against vanity in speech or relationships. Venus, second and seventh lord, with Ketu results in graceful but distanced speech. The native may speak little, but their words leave an impression, minimalism as power. There's a quiet magnetism in how they communicate, often attracting others without trying. They may have difficulty in sustaining casual conversations and instead favor abstract, symbolic, or spiritual topics. Sibling relationships may involve subtle emotional debts or detachment. Financially, this gives income through aesthetic or occult arts, though the native may lack sustained interest in profit. Emotionally, they are romantics who avoid drama, preferring beauty without demand. Sun, fifth lord, with Moon, fourth lord, brings together emotional memory and creative will. In the communicative third house, this gives the native a powerful storytelling voice, equal parts heartfelt and proud. They speak from the core, often blending personal experiences with moral conviction. Early environments likely involved strong parental figures, with communication seen as a tool for shaping reality or asserting identity. This makes the native an excellent teacher, coach, or speaker. They are natural motivators, often speaking to uplift or educate. However, internal conflicts between emotional needs and ego expression may affect how consistent or authentic their tone is. The third house for Aries rising is ruled by Mercury and falls in Gemini, already a placement of dynamic thought and quick expression. When these conjunctions activate, they create a multi-layered communicator, one who is emotionally charged, spiritually detached, or creatively potent, depending on the planetary mix. These natives often communicate with great personal signature, whether in tone, content, or method. When balanced, they are natural authors, guides, counselors, or performers. When imbalanced, communication becomes inconsistent, either overstated with ego or muted with withdrawal. Psychologically, these combinations reshape how the native relates to courage, speech, and learning. The third house is about daily confidence and interaction with peers and the world through ideas. Conjunctions involving Ketu bring detachment from the noise, while those with Venus and Moon heighten sensitivity. Sun's involvement brings need for creative recognition. Over time, the native evolves from impulsive chatter to intentional speech, learning how to balance feeling, clarity, and purpose. The path is to refine their voice, not just for talking, but for truthfully aligning thought, emotion, and presence. Third house, or Sahaja Bhava, for Leo rising, part 1. For Leo rising, the third house falls in Libra, ruled by Venus. Leo is a fixed fire sign governed by the sun, proud, self-directed, expressive, while Libra, ruled by Venus, is airy, social, and focused on harmony. When these energies meet in the domain of communication, courage, and skills, the result is a native who speaks with charm, confidence, and diplomatic finesse. Their courage is not combative, but relational. They assert themselves by persuading, balancing, and guiding. The native doesn't overpower, but influences through elegance, refinement, and social intelligence. Venus ruling the third house makes the speech style of Leo rising natives gentle, tactful, and aesthetically tuned. There's often a pleasing tone to their voice and a concern for social impact. They think before they speak, not out of fear, but from a desire to maintain grace and control over perception. Their words can be persuasive, poetic, or flirtatious, often crafted to maintain social harmony. When imbalanced, they may become overly appeasing or manipulate tone for approval. But at their best, they are natural diplomats, able to disarm tension through words and gestures. Sibling relationships play a pivotal role in shaping their social confidence. These natives often idealize or model themselves around a sibling or close peer group. Early schooling is remembered for its social atmosphere. Friendships, group discussions, or artistic engagements leave strong impressions. Their learning style is visual and auditory, and they perform best in collaborative or beauty-driven environments. Self-worth and courage are tied to their capacity to maintain peace and likability in peer dynamics. Libra in the third house creates a highly social communicator. These natives are often drawn to arts, aesthetics, fashion, law, or public relations, not just as hobbies, but as tools of articulation. The hands and voice may carry refinement, making them suited to crafts, music, or public speaking. They may find success in professions requiring tact, mediation, or visual appeal. They prefer elegance over directness, but when needed, can assert with subtle steel beneath their velvet phrasing. Physically, Libra's influence on the third house refines gestures and vocal texture. They often speak rhythmically, with conscious modulation and polite control. The hands may be graceful, suited for calligraphy, makeup, or musical instruments. In times of stress, communication becomes either overly polished or shuts down entirely to avoid conflict. They dislike messy confrontations and may delay response until they've carefully rehearsed the tone and intent behind their words. Family conditioning for Leo rising often emphasizes image, respectability, and charm in social settings. These natives may have been rewarded for being well-behaved, polite, or aesthetically pleasing. Over time, this creates a communication style that values perception and harmony, but risks suppressing authentic opinion. Their evolutionary path lies in learning that true beauty in speech includes honesty, not just sweetness, and that conflict, when handled with fairness, can deepen trust. Financially, Libra in the third house supports skill-based income, especially in arts, media, negotiation, or interpersonal professions. Their ability to present, pitch, or coordinate is often a key to earning. They may thrive in roles that require relationship management, audience engagement, or content curation. With a refined sense of style and word economy, they make excellent cultural translators between idea and execution. The third house activates at ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. At 15, their verbal grace or artistic ability often draws admiration from peers. At 27, they gain clarity on their communicative identity, often choosing a career path that relies on speech, aesthetics, or intellectual collaboration. At 39, they refine their voice further, becoming more assertive in maintaining harmony on their own terms. Across these cycles, their challenge and gift remain the same, expressing with beauty, but not at the cost of truth. Conjunctions in third house or Sahaja Bhava for Leo rising, part 2. Venus, 3rd and 10th Lord, plus Saturn, 6th and 7th Lord. Venus brings charm, artistic intelligence, and social ease, while Saturn offers discipline, maturity, and realism. In Libra, where both planets are strong, this creates a communicator who is tactful, poised, and methodically persuasive. With the lords of the 3rd, 6th, 7th, and 10th houses combining, the native becomes adept at resolving conflicts through diplomatic speech and measured tone. They may have a formal advisory dynamic with siblings or work in public-facing careers that require both grace and restraint. The personality is elegant yet grounded, valuing long-term respect over short-term applause. Venus, 3rd and 10th Lord, plus Mars, 4th and 9th Lord. Mars energizes and asserts. Venus refines and connects. Together in Libra, they create a communicator who blends passion with polish. The native may use words to persuade, negotiate, or lead, always with a distinct personal style. With the combination of house lords tied to courage, higher knowledge, emotional instinct, and public action, this person may excel in motivational speaking, teaching, or media roles. Sibling bonds are often vibrant, possibly competitive, but ultimately growth-oriented. The personality is dynamic, charming, and expressive, able to harmonize action with aesthetics in both speech and professional output. Venus, 3rd and 10th Lord, plus Ketu. This pairing detaches the Venusian impulse for harmony from its need for validation. Ketu brings inward focus and nonconformity. In Libra, the native may speak with beauty and insight, yet prefer emotional distance or minimal social engagement. Communication is soft, symbolic, or quietly impactful. Relationships with siblings may be marked by subtle disconnection or karmic undercurrents. With the 3rd and 10th Lords involved, career in fine arts, spiritual guidance, or secluded leadership is likely. The personality is refined, intuitive, and enigmatic, offering value without seeking applause, and often speaking more through presence than words. Mars, 4th and 9th Lord, plus Saturn, 6th and 7th Lord. Mars initiates and defends, Saturn structures and limits. In Libra, this pairing tempers impulsive speech into focused, impactful communication. The native speaks cautiously, but with force when necessary. With the 4th, 6th, 7th, and 9th Lords involved, this person may feel duty-bound to speak for justice, family legacy, or truth in relationships. Sibling bonds may be defined by distance, age gaps, or stoic loyalty. They are suited for law, arbitration, or strategy-based work. The personality is composed, duty-oriented, and quietly intense, less inclined to perform, more inclined to follow internal codes. Mars, 4th and 9th Lord, plus Ketu. This conjunction brings direct action, Mars, into contact with spiritual dissociation, Ketu. In Libra, it gives a communicator who is mentally agile but selectively expressive. They may prefer clarity over quantity, delivering short but charged statements. The native may avoid attention, yet act decisively when others hesitate. With the 4th and 9th Lords involved, their beliefs are deeply internalized, often shaped by past lives or philosophical solitude. Sibling relationships might be karmic, intense, or ghost-like. The personality is private, discerning, and silently effective, often influencing through precise action and withdrawal. Saturn, 6th and 7th Lord, Ketu. Saturn brings boundaries, endurance, and responsibility. Ketu dissolves identity, desire, and worldly grasp. In Libra, this creates a communicator who is minimal, formal, and spiritually weighty. Their voice is often restrained, valuing truth, but cautious of overexposure. With the 6th and 7th Lords combined, relationships and daily challenges shape how they express. Sibling ties may carry karmic burdens, such as caring for or being distant from a sibling. Ideal for ancient knowledge, law, or metaphysical systems. The personality is quiet, patient, and self-reflective, someone who speaks when silence no longer serves justice. Venus, 3rd and 10th Lord, Jupiter, 5th and 8th Lord. Venus brings art, connection, and diplomacy. Jupiter expands with wisdom, ethics, and insight. In Libra, the native becomes a gracious and inspiring communicator, able to express creative, moral, or spiritual ideas with ease. This combination blends house lords related to speech, intelligence, power, and public image. Sibling ties are generous and mentally uplifting, and early education likely emphasized social grace and moral structure. Careers in teaching, law, diplomacy, or spiritual leadership are favored. The personality is warm, expressive, and cultured, uplifting others through eloquence anchored in ethics. Jupiter, 5th and 8th Lord, plus Saturn, 6th and 7th Lord. Jupiter seeks meaning. Saturn enforces limits. In Libra, this blend of expansion and containment yields a communicator who speaks with measured conviction. Their tone is serious yet ethical, often advocating fairness, systems reform, or philosophical clarity. The 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Lords unite to produce someone skilled in healing rifts, navigating crises, or managing power in relationships. Their siblings may either serve as karmic teachers or be guided by the native's maturity. The personality is methodical, wise, and institution-minded, capable of designing lasting systems through clear, balanced thought. Third house or Sahaja Bhava for Sagittarius rising, part 1. For Sagittarius rising, the third house falls in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Rahu. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is expansive, inspired, and idealistic, while Aquarius brings detachment, intellectual precision, innovation, and a deep concern for systems and humanity. When these energies combine in the domain of communication, skills, and courage, they create a native whose speech is forward-thinking, idea-driven, and socially attuned. They speak less from emotion and more from intellect, often using language to bring change, challenge tradition, or stimulate dialogue on collective issues. Saturn ruling the third house makes communication deliberate, thoughtful, and structured. These natives speak when they have something meaningful to say. They tend to process ideas carefully, often pausing before speaking to assess long-term consequences or systemic implications. Their words may carry a dry tone, marked by wit or subtle irony. They don't waste words on sentiment. They prefer logic, reform, and long-term impact. When younger, they may appear socially distant or introverted in speech, but with maturity, they emerge as precise communicators and community thinkers. Sibling relationships often carry Aquarian complexity. Bonds may be defined by intellectual rapport, unusual age differences, or non-traditional roles, like siblings as friends, mentors, or ideological rivals. The native may also experience detachment or sudden breaks in sibling bonds, especially in early years. Schooling environments are often progressive, highly structured, or centered around technology and systems thinking. They thrive in group learning and social exchange, but may remain reserved in personal disclosure. Aquarius in the third house gives a communication style that blends abstraction with idealism. These natives may be drawn to science, social reform, futuristic technology, or networking platforms. Their natural courage lies in mental independence. They're unafraid to voice unpopular truths or challenge dominant narratives. They often excel at developing systems, frameworks, or blueprints that improve human cooperation. With Jupiter's expansive nature behind their ascendant, they need causes that are big, collective, and meaningful to activate their skills. Physically, Aquarius lends coordination and precision to hand and voice movements. The native may prefer typed, structured, or visually mapped communication over spontaneous conversation. They're often seen taking notes, sketching systems, or drawing diagrams while thinking. Their voice may be steady, slightly monotone, or delivered with measured timing. Under stress, they may intellectualize emotion or delay responses until certainty is reached. Their strength lies in the ability to stay mentally cool, even in charged scenarios. Family conditioning for Sagittarius rising often emphasizes vision, morality, or freedom, but with Aquarius in the third house, the native learns that communication is all about strategy, timing, and networked influence. They are not driven by emotional validation and expression. They're moved by the question, how can this idea help? Over time, they evolve from idealistic broadcasters to reform-minded organizers, using speech as a medium for change rather than mere inspiration. Financially, Aquarius in the third supports income through scientific, technological, social, or community-driven roles. Communication platforms, digital innovation, network coordination, or data management all align with their skill set. The native often earns through strategic collaboration or systems optimization. Their speech, once honed, becomes a resource, especially when applied toward collective causes, educational movements, or forward-thinking enterprises. The third house activates at ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. At 15, the native may experience intellectual individuation, questioning peers, exploring new ideologies, or joining a cause. At 27, they may formalize their voice through career, publication, or social projects. By 39, their role in shaping systems, speaking for communities, or guiding reform comes into focus. Their evolution lies in using clarity, innovation, and insight not just to inform, but to elevate society through language, logic, and collaboration. Conjunctions in third house or Sahaja Bhava for Sagittarius rising, part 2. Saturn, 2nd and 3rd lord, Venus, 6th and 11th lord. Saturn adds structure, discipline, and silence. Venus brings softness, charm, and relationship orientation. In Aquarius, their conjunction creates a communicator who is refined, formal, and socially intelligent. The native chooses words with care. not just to please, but to preserve peace and order. Sibling connections may be pragmatic or involve duty, age gaps, or delayed closeness. With houses connected to wealth, speech, social networks, and service, the voice becomes a calibrated instrument used to mediate conflict, manage group dynamics, or foster collective refinement. The personality is diplomatic, tactful, and system-conscious, blending social grace with structural clarity. Saturn, 2nd and 3rd Lord Mars, 5th and 12th Lord. Mars charges forward. Saturn pulls back. Their union in Aquarius produces a communicator who is mentally intense, verbally restrained, and extremely tactical. Words are few, but sharp and deliberate, calculated to solve, dismantle, or reconstruct. The native often excels in technical instruction, military planning, or scientific analysis. With houses tied to speech, intelligence, and solitude, the mind works in silence but executes with force. Sibling relationships may be marked by distance, control, or subtle rivalry. The personality is self-controlled, high stakes, and highly focused, wielding intellect like a blade. Saturn, 2nd and 3rd Lord. Jupiter, 1st and 4th Lord. Jupiter expands, Saturn concentrates. Their conjunction in Aquarius gives a communicator who blends vision with realism, hope with precision. The native may appear philosophical yet deeply practical in speech. Early education, siblings, and inner thoughts revolve around systems, tradition, or public good. With the self, communication, and inner foundation connected, they often become teachers, advisors, or policy thinkers. Their speech influences not just individuals but institutions. The personality is wise, trustworthy, and reform-oriented, rooted in principle and committed to slow, lasting change. Saturn, 2nd and 3rd Lord, Ketu. This is the mind of the silent reformer. Saturn restricts, Ketu dissolves. In Aquarius, the native may speak rarely, but when they do, their words dismantle illusions. The voice is dry, minimal, and often philosophical. They tend to reject performative speech, preferring abstract clarity or total retreat. Sibling ties may feel faded or karmically incomplete. With houses of wealth, skill, and silent liberation involved, their communication path may involve esoterica, ancient technology, or spiritual systems. The personality is isolated yet insightful, engaged in reality but drawn to dissolve its outer layers through intellectual austerity. Mars, 5th and 12th Lord, plus Venus, 6th and 11th Lord. This pair balances tension and beauty, assertion and harmony. Mars gives mental strength and urgency. Venus brings finesse and social sense. In Aquarius, their union creates a communicator who is passionately persuasive, especially in humanitarian or group contexts. Sibling bonds may involve joint activism or dynamic emotional themes. With houses of creativity, service, networks, and hidden effort combined, they thrive in roles involving teamwork under pressure, like campaigns, design labs, or cooperative leadership. The personality is vibrant, collaborative, and subtly forceful, capable of pushing agendas with aesthetic persuasion. Mars, 5th and 12th Lord, Ketu. Mars acts, Ketu retreats. Their conjunction in Aquarius creates a communicator who is driven by instinct yet resistant to external influence. The native may speak with urgency, but avoid recognition, choosing hidden, indirect, or anonymous modes of influence. Their courage is internal, their strategy invisible. Sibling bonds may involve separation, loss, or psychic connection. With links to creativity, detachment, and sacrifice, the individual is drawn to spiritual warfare, hidden activism, or anonymous invention. The personality is fearless yet invisible, one who leads from the margins and acts through silence. Venus, 6th and 11th Lord, Jupiter, 1st and 4th Lord. Jupiter uplifts, Venus harmonizes. In Aquarius, they create a communicator who speaks with purpose, compassion, and high social awareness. The native often serves as a voice for marginalized groups or advocates for systemic beauty, law, ethics, and aesthetic reforms. Sibling connections are usually friendly, possibly collaborative in education or shared ideals. With houses tied to self, home, service, and social gain, the native often becomes a connector, mentor, or collective visionary. The personality is inclusive, hopeful, and balanced, seeking to beautify the world not through sentiment, but through ideas. Jupiter, 1st and 4th Lord, plus Ketu Jupiter teaches, Ketu severs ego. In Aquarius, their union produces a communicator who is spiritually impersonal, intellectually vast, and detached from recognition. The native may serve as a guide or philosopher, speaking not for identity, but for clarity. Their mind absorbs wisdom across traditions but resists fixed dogma. Sibling ties may fade early or be karmically distant. With houses of self, foundation, and invisible knowledge tied together, the native often teaches through presence, absence, or sacred contradiction. The personality is deeply intuitive, teacherly, and unbound, able to point toward truth without needing to be seen within it.